galaxy was quiet. For 100 years, no major war had broken out. Trade moved smoothly between systems, peace treaties held strong. The Galactic Senate ruled from the shining city of Varnix Prime, where thousands of species met to keep order. No one believed in threats anymore, no one worried. Then one day, a signal came. It didn't come from a normal planet. It came from the edge of the galaxy, far, far beyond where most ships traveled. It was full of static, screaming, and strange, broken voices. The message wasn't clear. But one thing was. Help. It's coming. It eats the stars. The signal repeated every hour. Every system with deep space receivers caught it. Scientists decoded pieces, and slowly, fear spread. The message didn't name the enemy. It didn't ask for food or fuel or safety. It only begged for help. And it came from a system that no longer showed any signs of life. It had been wiped clean. In the Senate Hall of Varnix Prime, the leaders gathered. Tall creatures with golden feathers. Cold-looking beings with skin like glass. Short ones with metal shells. Some floated, some walked, some buzzed. But they all shared one thing now: worry. "What if it's just a dying star?" asked one senator. "A trap, maybe. Pirates trying to scare us," said another. But an old ambassador stood and shook his head. His people, the Drethari, were known for their history. His voice was calm but heavy. "This is not new. This has happened before." The room went silent. He continued. "Long ago, a force came from the black edge of space. It did not talk. It did not take. It only destroyed. Planets vanished. Suns went cold. Whole systems lost. And then it stopped. We thought it died." He looked around the room. "But I think it only went to sleep." In the following days, more signals arrived. Faint cries from small colonies. Trade ships vanished. Mining stations stopped reporting. The Senate sent scouts. None came back. Panic began to grow, but still the strong empires refused to act. The Harketh Empire said, "It's not our problem." The Jalari Alliance said, "It's too far. Waste of resources." The Xinox Confederacy said, "Let the weak fall. We'll survive." No one wanted to send their fleets. No one wanted to risk their soldiers. The danger seemed far away, easy to ignore. But then something strange happened. One old station, forgotten by most, sent a simple message to the Galactic network. It said, "Earth has received the signal. Earth is responding." The message confused many. Earth? That quiet, strange planet in the Terran system? The one that joined the galaxy only 50 years ago? The one with no known navy, no trading power, no seat in the Senate? Many laughed. Some called it a glitch. Others didn't even know what Earth was. But deep below that small blue planet's surface, something old was waking. Beneath Earth's oceans, in forgotten bunkers, red lights blinked for the first time in decades. A deep voice spoke from hidden speakers. "Warning. Threat level. Alpha detected. Initiating protocol. Revenant." Giant metal doors opened under the sea. Water bubbled as a massive object rose slowly from the deep. It was a warship, long, black, and silent. It made no sound, but the water around it boiled. Its surface was covered in thick armor and strange symbols. It had no windows, no visible weapons. Just a single word burned into its side: Revenant. This ship had not been built in the last 50 years. It had been hidden, forgotten even by Earth's governments. Made in the time of Earth's great wars, long before they joined the galactic community. But now, it was rising. On the surface, leaders from Earth's hidden council watched quietly. Most of them wore plain clothes. They were not loud. They didn't hold elections. They didn't give speeches. They just gave orders. A woman with sharp eyes stood in front of a large screen. Her name was Mira Vale, a retired captain. But here, she was something else. "Is it time?" someone asked her. She nodded once. "Yes, we held peace as long as we could, but the galaxy is crying. We're not deaf." "Do you think they'll welcome us?" "No," she said, "they never did before. But this isn't about them. It's about who we are." Across the solar system, more ships woke. From under the moon's surface, from inside asteroids, even from Earth's deserts, where the ground split open and giant towers rose, launching black vessels into the stars. All of them had been sleeping, built in secret, programmed only to wake in a time of true danger. Together, they formed the Ghost Fleet. No one outside Earth had ever seen them. No one believed humans had any serious weapons. Earth had hidden its power carefully for one reason, to never need it. But now, they did. In a dark command room inside the Revenant, lights turned on slowly. Screens glowed. AI systems spoke in low voices. Power at 94%, weapon cores stable, crew status, artificial intelligence linked. There were no living crew inside. Only one person stood at the center. It was Mira Vale. She walked through the command deck like she had done this before. She placed her hand on the command pad. The ship spoke. Captain recognized. Mission status, stand by. She looked ahead at the stars. Then she said the words that would change everything. Set course to the last signal. The ship hummed. Space folded around it. And with a sound like cracking glass, it vanished. Elsewhere in the galaxy, alien news channels picked up strange reports. Unknown ships detected leaving Earth. Terran war machine rises? Ghost fleet or ghost story? Still the Senate laughed. Still the great empires ignored the warnings. Let them send their toys, a Xenox leader sneered. They'll vanish like the others. But on the edge of the galaxy, the stars were going dark. One by one. Inside the Revenant, Mira stared at the incoming feed. The target system was near. The last message from that system played again, this time clearer. Help us. It eats light. We can't run, please. Then silence. Mira's voice was calm. Prepare all scanners. Ready the void cannon. Void cannon armed, the AI replied. Target, unknown threat. Let's show them, Mira said, what Earth really kept in the dark. The ship exited folded space. Before them was a graveyard. Planets reduced to dust, space stations in pieces, not a single life sign. And in the center, floating silently, a mass of black and purple. It moved like it was alive. It was not a fleet. It was a creature. Mira stared at it. It's bigger than I thought, she whispered. The AI replied, unknown biological entity, size, planetary, threat level, maximum. The thing turned. It had no eyes, no face, but it saw them. The Revenant powered its weapons. The space around the ship shimmered, and for the first time, in thousands of years, the galaxy was about to witness what Earth really was. They said Earth had no power, no ships, no army. Then the stars near Earth began to blink, not because they were dying, but because something darker than light was moving between them. The Ghost Fleet was waking. The galaxy did not believe Earth could fight. When humans joined the Galactic network, they were quiet, friendly, careful. They traded more than they fought. They never showed off. Their ships looked simple. Their armies stayed home. So when Earth's name appeared in response to the cry for help, many alien empires laughed. But those empires didn't know what Earth had buried. They didn't know about Project Blackwake. Hidden deep inside the solar system, machines began to move. Old satellites blinked alive in Neptune's orbit. They weren't for communication. They weren't for weather. They were alarms, and the alarm had been triggered. From under the ice of Europa, towers rose. Inside them, dark shapes broke free from the frozen surface. Ships, silent, black, covered in a strange metal that ate light, powered up after decades of sleep. From inside Mars's canyons, old hangars opened. Dust shook off giant structures. Earth had built them long ago during its last World War. They had never been used until now. In the council chamber under Earth's surface, the hidden leaders watched in silence. No debates, no votes. Only one voice gave the orders. Mira Vale. Report on fleet activation, she said calmly. A young operator answered. 78 Ghost-class warships are online. 30 more expected within the hour. AI combat units are linking. Casualty. Predictions? If we send them alone, 93% loss. But that's not the plan. Mira nodded. No, this time we send a message. Elsewhere in the galaxy, a wealthy alien merchant named Tolzari stared at his private screen. He had survived 4 trade wars. He owned fleets of transport ships. But today he was afraid. His scanners picked up something strange. Movement in Earth's solar system. Hundreds of ships were launching. Their speed, impossible. He leaned closer. Each ship was marked with one thing, a simple emblem, a human skull with wings of flame. No, he whispered. They weren't bluffing. The galaxy had long mocked Earth's peaceful ways, but Earth had prepared, not because it expected war. It had prepared because it remembered what war really meant. Humans had fought each other for thousands of years. On land, in water, in air, then in space. They had known fear, hunger, pain, and they had survived it all. So when they joined the galaxy, they came quietly, but they also came ready. Earth had never trusted the silence of the stars. The Ghost Fleet was not like other navies. Most galactic ships were shiny, elegant, full of comfort and soft colors. Earth's ships were sharp, black, built with sharp angles and quiet engines. They had no windows, only internal sensors, no decorations, only armor, and each one was powered by a core that pulsed like a beating heart. The fleet moved in perfect silence. No radio signals, no light. They looked like death itself, and each one was named after something Earth feared: the Dread, the Widow, the Eclipse, the Siren, the Fang. Inside one of the warships, the Dread, the AI flickered awake. Threat detected, orders received, Earth defense protocol active. Weapons came online. Energy shields hummed. Inside the command pod, a figure floated, not a human, an echo clone, a human-shaped AI made from the memories of real captains. Its eyes opened. No more waiting, it said. The galaxy called for help. We will answer. In deep space. The Revenant waited. Captain Mira Vale stood at the edge of her bridge, eyes locked on the dark creature ahead. The swarm fragment, the one she had found in the ruined system, was moving again. Slowly. Like it was searching. She didn't.
Fire, not yet. Time until Ghost Fleet arrival?
She asked. 2 minutes, the AI replied. She took a deep breath. Let's see if we can hold it. The swarm turned. It didn't roar. It didn't send a signal. It simply moved toward her. A shadow made of thousands of smaller parts. Ships, bones, broken metal, and dark matter. The Revenant's weapons powered up. Mira spoke calmly. This is Earth's first message to the galaxy. Then she gave the order. Fire. A lance of white-blue energy shot from the Revenant. It struck the swarm's surface. For a second, nothing happened. Then, part of the creature exploded. The blast was massive, more powerful than any known cannon in the galaxy. Alien sensors in nearby systems picked it up. A flash, a shockwave, then silence. The galaxy stopped laughing. The swarm didn't run. It grew angry. Pieces of it shot forward, long black tendrils like arms reaching for the revenant. Mira didn't flinch. Her ship dodged left, fired again. This time the swarm screamed, not with sound but with energy. The blast pushed against the revenant's shields. Warning lights flashed. Shields at 72%, the AI said. Mira didn't blink. We hold. Then, space shimmered. Behind the revenant, dozens of warships appeared. They didn't roar. They didn't cheer. They simply arrived. The Ghost Fleet had entered the battlefield. The first to fire was the Widow. Its rail cannon launched a rod of dark energy. It passed through the swarm's arm, tearing a hole the size of a city. Then came the siren, releasing a pulse that turned the swarm's signals against itself. Confusion rippled through the creature. The Fang and the Eclipse joined, flanking the enemy. They fought like wolves circling a monster, and Mira stood at the center, calm, steady. "This is what Earth really is," she whispered. The battle lasted an hour. When it ended, the swarm fragment was gone. Its pieces drifted in space, burning, broken. The Ghost Fleet didn't stay to celebrate. They began rescue missions, scanning debris, pulling survivors from escape pods, sending repair drones to ruined stations. Everywhere the swarm had touched, Earth's ships arrived after to help. Not to conquer, but to heal. The galaxy couldn't believe it. Alien news channels were flooded with footage. Earth's ships arrive in Sector 12. Terran warship saves thousands on Ilaris 3. Unknown Earth weapon melts swarm unit. Even the Galactic Senate fell silent. For the first time, the old empires felt shame. They had power, but Earth had heart. In a secret chamber on Varnix Prime, the Senate held an emergency meeting. Some senators shouted, others argued, but one young leader stood and said what no one else dared. "We failed." Earth answered the call we ignored. Back on Earth, in the hidden command bunker, Mira received thousands of messages. Most were short. Some were from colonies she'd saved. Some were from alien soldiers who once mocked humans. All said the same thing: "Thank you." Mira looked at her screen. The Ghost Fleet was moving again. "They know we're not weak anymore," her officer said. She nodded. "But they don't know what we're still hiding." In the deepest part of Earth's moon, a vault opened. Inside, something old waited. Not a ship, not a weapon, something else. A voice whispered from the darkness. "Soon." Hook. Start. First 5 to 7 minutes. The swarm didn't stop. What Earth destroyed was only one piece. Now a full wave was coming. Thousands of ships, and only one Terran warship stood in its way. The galaxy watched from afar, waiting for it to fall. But Earth didn't build ships to run. It built them to stand alone and win. The warning came fast. Across the galaxy, long-range scanners picked up a storm moving through the void. Not made of wind or lightning, but of ships. Thousands of them. Black, cold, moving with perfect order. The swarm had awakened. They were not a species. They were not alive in the normal way. They had no planets, no cities, no names. Just one goal: consume everything. The Galactic Senate panicked. Some called for peace talks. Others said to run, but it was already too late. The swarm moved too fast. It had no diplomats, no interest in surrender, and its next target was Orion's Gate, a key jump point system that controlled travel between 7 sectors. If Orion's Gate fell, the entire region would be trapped. Every race pulled back their fleets, but Earth sent something forward. Only one ship. Its name was the Valiant. It wasn't the biggest ship in the Ghost Fleet. It didn't carry nukes. It didn't have a crew of thousands, just 35 humans. And an AI called Juno. It was fast, it was quiet, and its captain was Commander Ash Riven. Ash stood on the bridge, staring at the hologram of incoming swarm signatures. Thousands, He didn't blink. Juno, the ship's AI, spoke calmly. Tactical. Odds suggest destruction in under 3 minutes if engaged directly. Ash just smiled. Good. Let's make it 4. Juno paused. That was a joke. Ash nodded. That was a promise. The Valiant reached Orion's gate just before the enemy wave. The system was empty. Everyone had fled. Stations offline. Civilian ships hiding in asteroid fields. Galactic fleets refusing to send help. Only the humans had answered. Just one ship. Ash opened a wide-range comm to the galaxy. He spoke simply. This is Commander Ash Riven of the Terran Defense Fleet. Orion's gate is not closed, but if you want to pass through, bring fire. We're not moving. His message went viral. Aliens laughed. Some called it madness. Some called it suicide. But in a small mining ship hiding near an asteroid, a young alien girl watched and whispered, "He's not afraid." Then, the swarm arrived. Thousands of black vessels exited fold space like shadows pouring into light. The Valiant didn't move. Ash sat in his chair, eyes locked forward. "Juno," he said, "do it." The AI responded, engaging Phantom Shield, deploying phase mines. The Valiant vanished from sensors. To the swarm, it was gone. They spread out, scanning space, but the Valiant wasn't gone. It was moving between them. Ash grinned. Let's teach them how humans play hide-and-seek. One by one, swarm ships began to vanish. No explosion, no flash, just gone. They flew into empty space and were never seen again. Juno explained, phase mines activated, traps set between folds of space. Their bodies are now somewhere else. Ash nodded. Good. Keep hunting. But the swarm wasn't stupid. It adapted. Soon, it narrowed in on Valiant's location. Thousands of ships surrounded it. Claws out, guns charged. Ash gave one last command. Show them Earth's ace. Juno answered, releasing Singularity Core. At the heart of the Valiant, a small device opened. It didn't explode, it collapsed. Space bent inward, light vanished, a black sphere formed in front of the ship, silent, small, deadly. The swarm fired at it, but the moment energy touched it, the shots disappeared. So did the ships behind them. It was a micro-black hole. The swarm pulled back, but not fast enough. In 10 seconds, over 400 enemy ships were gone. The Valiant sat still, its shields flickering, armor damaged, but not broken. Ash looked tired. Smoke filled parts of the ship. How many left? Juno replied. Still over 2,000 ships inbound. Ash laughed. Great, that was just the warm-up. From far away, hidden cameras recorded the fight. Galactic leaders watched in silence. A senator whispered, "One Terran ship killed more of the swarm than our entire navy." Another said, "What are these humans made of?" But no one had the answer, because no one had seen what came next. The swarm changed tactics. It combined its ships. They melted into one another, forming a massive spear-shaped titan. It was over 20 kilometers long. The Valiant was smaller than its tooth. Juno calculated quickly. That thing will reach the gate in 6 minutes. We won't survive impact. Ash stood, wiped blood from a cut on his head. Then we won't let it hit. He walked to a locked panel and opened it. Inside was a button, big, red, hidden under glass. Juno's voice turned serious. "Commander, that's the Lancer drive. It hasn't been tested." Ash smiled. "So?" Juno hesitated. "Activating it will tear this ship apart." Ash pressed the button. "Then make sure we hit first." The Valiant's engines exploded with power. It became a blur of fire and light. Not a ship, a missile. Headed straight for the giant swarm titan. The swarm fired everything. Lasers, plasma, dark matter bolts. But the Valiant didn't dodge. It burned through the attacks. Armor fell off. Hull cracked, flames spilled inside, but it kept going. Ash stood on the bridge, fire behind him, staring death in the face. Then, boom, the Valiant hit the center of the swarm Titan, the Lancer drive overloaded. A beam of pure white light pierced through the Titan's core, then came silence. No more swarm. No more Valiant. A second later, one small escape pod floated from the wreckage. Inside, Ash Riven breathed slowly, burned, bleeding, alive. He opened a channel. Orion's gate is clear, the Valiant held. Tell Earth we're not done yet. The galaxy once mocked Earth. Now it begged for Earth's help. But Earth was silent. The skies above rich alien worlds turned black. Cities vanished without sound. And as the swarm arrived, the Senate realized they waited too long. News of the Valiant's stand spread like fire across the stars. One ship, thousands of enemies, and yet it held. Alien broadcasts replayed the final image of the burning vessel diving into the swarm. Some called it madness. Some called it honor. But everyone now whispered one word: Terrans. In the Senate of the Galactic Union, fear had returned. The senators gathered in a tall tower above the planet Siruna. It floated above golden clouds and glowing oceans. Normally, they argued about trade and politics. Now, they argued about survival. "This is your fault," shouted a senator from the Valari Empire. "You told us Earth was weak," a blue-scaled alien from the Frentha delegation hissed. "They never showed strength before. How were we to know?" An old senator from the Yulin coalition stood and slammed his staff. "Enough." While we argued, the swarm moves again. A giant screen in the chamber showed red dots growing. 1, 2, 50, 300. Entire sectors were blinking out. The swarm didn't conquer planets, it erased them. One moment, a colony broadcasted cheerful weather reports. The next, only silence. Finally, the Senate leader stood. Her face was pale, her voice shaky. "We have no choice," she said. "We must request aid from Earth." Gasps filled the room. One senator whispered, "They'll laugh at us." Another said, "They'll demand a price." But the vote was clear, unanimous. Earth was the galaxy's only hope. An urgent message was sent, carried by a hyper-encoded diplomatic vessel. It arrived at the edge of Earth space and waited. 1 hour, nothing. 2 hours, no reply. Finally, a cold voice responded, not human, not AI, just one sentence. "Earth is listening." Inside Earth's command vault, Mira Vale stood with arms crossed. She had watched the Senate's message play twice. It was full of fear, pleading, words, empty promises. She knew their type. "They ignored us for decades," she said, "mocked us, called us backward." Her assistant nodded. "Now they're begging." Mira sighed. "They're not sorry, they're scared." Still, Earth wasn't cruel, but it also wasn't blind. She opened a channel. "This is Earth's High Command," Mira said calmly. "We will help, but we won't save your crowns or your power. We'll save your people." Then she added, "If you get in our way, we move through you too." The message spread across the stars. Earth would fight, but not for empires, only for the innocent. Meanwhile, the swarm moved again. It didn't sleep, didn't talk, didn't stop. In the Zephyr system, a planet with 6 billion citizens was attacked. Defenses held for 5 minutes, then the skies went black. No fire, no noise, just a wave of darkness. By the time Earth scouts arrived, the surface was glass. One survivor remained, a child. A Terran rescue unit pulled her from under collapsed steel. Her eyes wide, she whispered only one word: "Monsters." The Ghost Fleet grew larger now, no longer hiding. Earth began mass production. Old shipyards came online. Civilian engineers joined military crews. Terran AI spread across the systems, building faster than any known species. Hundreds of ships were launched, each one different, each one deadly, the Skybreaker class, the Wraith class, and one new model, the Juggernaut class, 5 times the size of any enemy ship. But Earth didn't just send machines, it sent people, volunteers, engineers, medics, pilots, refugees turned soldiers, even retired miners signed up to fly drop pods into battle. They wore no fancy uniforms, just steel. And the Terran emblem on their chest. While the galaxy tried to form a plan, Earth was already moving. In Sector A9, a swarm force approached a station full of alien refugees. No one else came, but Earth's 7th Drop Legion did. They dropped from orbit in flaming pods, smashing into the surface. One alien commander gasped. "They're not soldiers, they're fire." Earth won that fight, and the next, and the one after that. But each time it lost people too, heroes, friends. Terran Command posted every name, not just captains, every medic, every cook, every drone operator. Earth remembered its dead, the galaxy took. Notice, back in the Senate, confusion grew. "We gave Earth what they asked," one senator said. "So why won't they work under us?" The answer came from a new message. This one wasn't from Earth's government. It was from a field officer, Colonel Aisha Ray. She stood with blood on her armor in the middle of a ruined city. Her message was short. "We're not part of your empire. We're part of something older. It's called duty." Senate leaders looked at each other in silence. Their war fleet stayed docked, their borders locked, and Earth kept fighting. Alone. Then, something worse happened. The swarm split. Its next wave wasn't one large force. It broke into hundreds of smaller attacks, moving in secret, hitting soft targets. And one of those was Senate Prime, the heart of the Union. Swarm units breached the skies above Cyruna without warning. They bypassed defense satellites, they shut down shields with unknown signals, and before the Senate could evacuate, the swarm entered the tower. Senators screamed. Guards fired useless rounds into the black creatures. One creature struck with a whip of dark matter, cutting through walls. A senator begged, "Please, Earth, send someone." And Earth did. But not an army, not a fleet, just one person. She arrived in a burning shuttle, walking through the fire without armor. Her name was Sarah Morn. No one knew her rank. Some thought she was a spy. Others said she was a weapon. She didn't speak as she walked into the Senate tower. She just raised her hand. The swarm froze, literally. Their bodies stopped moving, then shattered like glass. The air grew cold, and all was silent. The surviving senators stared at her, one asked, voice shaking. "What are you?" Sarah looked at him with quiet eyes. "Terran," she said, and then walked away. After that day, the galaxy finally understood. Earth didn't come to join the Empire. It came to end the war, with or without permission. The swarm had never lost a full battle. Until now. Until Earth. But what came next would shake the galaxy even more. Not one ship, not a squad. Earth had been holding back something terrifying. And when the juggernauts arrived, the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The message came through every major channel across known space. It was short. Just 4 words. Earth is done waiting. The meaning wasn't clear at first, but 2 hours later, it became obvious. Because the first Juggernaut-class dreadnought entered the Scorian void, and every sensor in the sector went blind for 3 full seconds. It wasn't just a ship. It was a planet killer, massive, slow, silent, but it didn't need speed. It only needed to arrive. The ship's name was Titanfall, the second was Goliath Forge, and then came Iron Mercy, 3 juggernauts. Moving side by side, each one had armor thicker, than a mountain. Each one carried thousands of drones, rail cannons the size of city towers, and a core reactor that could melt moons. But the scariest part? They didn't have normal crews. They were controlled by something new, Earth's neural commanders, half human, half machine, born from Earth's darkest labs and trained to never stop. The galaxy watched in silence. Even the bravest alien admirals stood still. One whispered, "This is no longer war. It's judgment." Their first test came in the shattered Brenner Belt. Thousands of swarm ships were pushing toward a refugee planet. No one could stop them until the juggernauts dropped in. The swarm attacked first, as always. They moved like smoke. Fast, sharp, but this time their claws broke on impact, their weapons bent, and when they tried to swarm the Titanfall, the ship released something terrible. The obsidian cloud. Tiny drones, millions of them, spread out like mist, each one the size of a pebble, but when they hit a swarm ship, they turned into drills. Within minutes, 40% of the enemy fleet was gone. No explosions, just silence, just vanishing. Inside the Titanfall, the neural commander, called Kara 9, stood without speaking. Her skin was pale. Wires ran down her arms. Her eyes glowed. She didn't blink, didn't sweat, didn't hesitate. She simply moved her hand once, and the Goliath Forge fired its main cannon. A beam of pure gravitational energy shot across space. It didn't explode. It bent. Swarm ships were pulled inward, crushed into bowls of metal, and dropped into nothing. The galaxy had never seen that before, but the swarm learned. They always did. They adapted in seconds, forming shields against the drones and beams. They launched a counterattack, 5,000 ships at once. The juggernauts were surrounded, but they didn't retreat. Instead, the Iron Mercy did something insane. It folded space without leaving. The ship jumped without moving, creating ghost copies of itself all around the battlefield. The swarm fired at the wrong targets, and the real Iron Mercy launched a massive drop pod, wave straight into the enemy's heart. Inside those pods were not soldiers. They were Terran berserkers, men and women who had survived Deathworld training, who carried no fear, who were told, no retreat, no surrender. Each wore a pressure suit laced with spike armor. Each carried a fusion blade, and when they landed on swarm ships, they fought inside the beasts. A swarm hive creature roared as two Terrans ripped its shell apart with fire axes. One screamed back, in its face, "We're the nightmares now," and then detonated a micro-nuke at point blank. By the end of the battle, 93% of the swarm fleet was gone. The Brenner Belt was saved, and Earth had lost only 3% of its juggernaut power. Across the galaxy, a new fear grew. It wasn't the swarm anymore, it was Earth. A council on the planet Zeron debated in secret. If Earth can build these monsters, what stops them from taking over? One elder alien said, "We are trading one conqueror for another." But his younger advisor replied quietly, "No, the swarm eats us. Earth saves us." Back on Earth, new juggernauts were being built, not slower, faster, with folded armor, self-healing hulls, weapon pods that could learn from enemy attacks in real time. Even Earth's enemies had to admit they are turning war into art. But not everything was perfect. Earth's commanders knew something the galaxy didn't. The swarm had begun to change. They found signs inside shattered swarm ships, mutated cores, strange signals, hints of something smarter and worse. The swarm wasn't running anymore, it was baiting. At a deep space relay, Earth lost contact with one of its forward fleets, 30 Terran ships, gone. Miravale read the final transmission. It wasn't a cry for help, it was just static. And a single word: watching. That same night, Kara 9, the neural commander of Titanfall, stood alone inside her ship. She saw something no one else did. Outside her window, in the silence of deep space, a swarm vessel didn't attack. It just floated, and on its side, burned into its metal, and were human letters, not alien, not code, just 4 chilling words. "We see you too." Earth had pushed the swarm back. Earth had changed the battlefield. But now, the swarm was evolving too. They had seen Earth's strength, and they were preparing something even worse. But Earth wasn't done yet, because deep inside a hidden base under the ice of Mars, another project was almost ready. Stronger than juggernauts, faster than wraiths, more feared than ghost fleet ships. Its name was whispered by only a few, Project Godhammer. Earth's ships crushed everything. Juggernauts roared, drop legions conquered, the galaxy cheered. They thought it was over. But the swarm didn't die. It learned. And when it returned, it brought back Earth's weapons, twisted, corrupted. Now Earth stared into a mirror and saw its nightmare staring back. After the victory at Brenier Belt, Earth stood proud, but its leaders stayed quiet, because the signs were growing. Swarm. Patterns were changing. They weren't attacking randomly anymore. They were testing, watching. Earth's neural AI, Kara 9, called it out first. She pointed at a strange anomaly near the Koros Rift, a single destroyed Terran ship, floating, no signs of battle, but its systems had been copied, not stolen, cloned, perfectly. Down to the code, even Earth's private command codes had been cracked. Mira Vale stared at the report in silence. "This isn't just war," she said. "It's reflection." 1 week later, the proof arrived. In the Gorna system, a trade route station was attacked. Earth sent a squad of Wraith-class stealth fighters, but what they saw there made them freeze. Dozens of swarm ships were floating above the station, each one shaped like Terran ships. Exact copies, same hulls, same weapon ports, same formations, but wrong, twisted. Moving like beasts wearing armor they didn't understand. The swarm had built a fake Earth fleet. Commander Rilo of the 14th Wraith Squadron reported, "They're using Terran tech. They even used our radio signals. We thought it was backup. Then they opened fire." Only 3 Wraiths survived. The rest were wiped out by their own tactics. On Earth, panic didn't spread, but planning did. Mira called an emergency command council, 12 generals, 4 AI, 2 hybrid minds. They agreed on one thing. "We're not facing monsters anymore. We're facing ourselves." The swarm began rolling out more Terran mimic fleets. They didn't just copy weapons, they copied style, drop pods, stealth launches, jammer signals, even decoy distress beacons. Earth's own genius was now being used against it. On the colony moon, Isara, civilians ran to their bunkers. A Terran-shaped ship dropped in. The people cheered. "Earth's here!" But then the fake ship opened its lower hull, and hundreds of swarm beasts poured out, wearing armor like Terran Marines. They didn't kill with speed. They killed with precision. Only one survivor made it out, a boy named Dren. He stared into the news camera and whispered, "They wore your flags. They looked like you, but their eyes were wrong." Back in orbit, Earth launched a counterattack. 3 real juggernauts dropped into the system, the Titanfall, Iron Mercy, and the new Hammerwake. The battle was brutal. This time, the fake Terran. Ships fought like real ones. They used swarm tactics combined with Terran strategy. Hammerwake took heavy damage. Even Kara 9's neural sync began to overload. She gasped. "They're inside our thoughts." Earth needed something different. A new plan, a weapon the swarm hadn't seen before. That's when Mira gave the order. Unseal Project Godhammer. Hidden deep under Mars ice, the chamber opened. Inside, chained in magnetic fields, was something old. Not a ship, not a person, not an AI, but all 3, a living war being. Once human, now something more. His name was Axon Kor, a Terran legend, believed dead. He wasn't. He had volunteered for an experiment that broke the body and rebuilt it with star metal and neural fire. He could hear fleets, command without sound, kill without touching a trigger. They called him the Storm Inside Metal. Earth feared to use him. But now, they had no choice. Axon's first words after waking were, "They copied us. Let's show them the original still breathes." He was launched in a custom-built cruiser, the Spear of Sol, not big like a juggernaut, but focused, sharp. It could pierce any fleet formation, and its core was synced to Axon's mind. When he spoke, the ship obeyed. His mission: strike deep into a swarm sector, alone. To find the source of the mimic fleet plans and end it. He dropped into the Erithis shadow sector. No allies, no signals, just black space and hostile readings. Within hours, the Spear of Sol was surrounded by 3 mimic fleets, each one a reflection of Earth's own designs. But Axon smiled. They can copy the frame, not the soul. He activated the Echo Core. It didn't fire weapons, it played memories of real battles, real Terran screams, real courage. The mimic ships paused, some even turned on each other, confused by the emotional overload. Then Axon struck with pure, controlled fury. He didn't fire main guns. He fired truth, sent encoded Terran music, battle, chants, rage frequencies directly into enemy minds, and the mimic fleet cracked. Their copies failed to hold shape, armor melted, ships twisted. Axon flew through them like a lightning storm. After the battle, he stood on the bridge alone, one arm missing, wounds bleeding silver. He sent one line to Earth: "They can wear our skin, but they'll never carry our pain." Back on Earth, the data from Axon's fight changed everything. Earth's engineers adapted. They made anti-mimic protocols, new armor that shifted mid-battle, weapons keyed to soul signatures. Fleet IDs burned into the minds of real soldiers. No machine could fake that. But the war wasn't over, because the swarm had one more move. It wasn't a weapon, it was a message, sent across every frequency, in every language, even in Earth's own tongue. It said, "You are strong, we are stronger now. Let's see what your fire becomes when it's cold." And then, the stars near the Zenith reach went dark, not just blocked. Gone. Entire solar systems erased. The swarm had learned Earth's weapons, but now it was learning Earth's worst lesson: extinction. For years, Earth protected the galaxy. Earth fought. Earth won. Earth saved. But the swarm had changed. It had copied Earth's weapons. And now, it came for Earth itself. One strike, one moment, everything changed. Because this time, fire fell on Earth. It started with silence. No explosions, no warnings, just power flickering across Earth's defense grid. Satellites blinked. Orbiting weapons went dark. The moon bases sent no signals. Mira Vale stood in Earth Command, watching the screen go black. Then came the whisper, soft, broken, and terrifying. "They're here." It wasn't just one ship. It was a storm, a swarm fleet larger than anything Earth had ever seen. But this time the ships didn't look alien. They looked human. Earth's shape, Earth's size, Earth's colors, but not Earth's soul. They had taken everything, and now they were here to burn the source. The swarm didn't land on Earth. They surrounded it, created a shell of metal and claws, like a cage made of nightmares. The sun dimmed. Behind their shadow, the oceans pulled back. Animals screamed without sound. Children looked up and saw fire in the sky. Mira ordered full planetary defense. Every cannon fired. Every orbital mine launched. All Terran forces activated. The sky above, Earth turned red, then white, then black, but it wasn't enough. The swarm had evolved. They ignored weapons. They moved through energy. They bent light and space. It was no longer war. It was erasure. In the first 2 hours, Earth lost. Mars Relay Station, Lunar Forge Base, Orbital Ring East, 10% of its navy, and worst of all, the Titanfall, the first. Juggernaut, the legend. It was pulled apart in orbit like paper in a storm. Kara 9's last signal was just 3 words. Save the core. Axon Core, still in his ship Spear of Sol, flew through the chaos. He dove into Earth's upper orbit, ignoring the flames and wreckage. His mission, protect Mira. She was the last living link to Earth's battle command, but the swarm had already reached the command tower. Mira stood on the top floor, holding a small weapon, not to fight, to buy time. Her guards were gone. Her friends were dead, and the swarm was breaking through. Then the wall cracked, and something stepped in. It wasn't a beast. It was a copy of a Terran officer, her face, her eyes, her voice. It said, "You are the mother of resistance. We are the future." But Mira didn't flinch. She pressed a button, and the whole tower exploded. Axon arrived seconds later. All that was left was fire. And a signal beacon. Continue. No retreat. Earth still breathes. But Earth didn't look like it was breathing. Whole continents were on fire. Skies were torn open by war drives. Cities floated in the air, broken from the ground. Millions gone in hours. And the swarm kept coming. But Earth had one last defense. The Bastion Protocol. A plan written long ago in case Earth ever fell. A hidden fleet, built in silence, buried beneath Antarctica. Thousands of ships, untouched by command signals. Only one person could unlock them. Axon Core. He reached the icy base, flying low through the burning sky. Swarm flyers chased him. They roared like sirens. But Axon didn't run. He whispered to his ship, "Punch through." The Spear of Sol turned vertical and burned through the ground like a comet. Inside the icy caverns, he found the fleet. Cold, waiting. Rows of Terran ships coated in frost, but their cores still pulsed. Axon walked between them and touched the control. Panel dot, a voice spoke. "Bastion command active. Confirm your pain." Axon nodded. He opened his mind, showed the machine every memory. His scars, his pain, his losses. The computer replied, "Confirmed. Pain verified. Terran vengeance unlocked." Above, the ice cracked and ships rose, hundreds, thousands. The Bastion fleet had awakened. Each ship had no crew. They were semi-living, grown with tech and mind prints from Earth's most fallen heroes. Each one named after a Terran city, river, or fighter, and each one had one mission: make them pay. The Bastion fleet launched like thunder. Swarm ships turned to meet them. But these weren't normal Terran ships. They had no fear, no delay, no hesitation. They dove into the enemy like blades, and Earth's skies lit up with the fire of vengeance. The swarm was caught off guard. They thought Earth was broken. Instead, they woke Earth's rage. The fighting spread from orbit down to the ground. Terran berserkers fought street by street. Old soldiers came out of retirement. Teenagers picked up rifles. Even children ran medbots into fire zones. One girl, barely 12, stood in front of a broken swarm unit. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just looked it in the eye and said, "This is our home. You can't have it." Then she lit the explosives behind her. Across the galaxy, the footage spread. Other planets saw Earth burn. But they didn't laugh. They cried. They remembered everything Earth had done for them. And they sent ships. The first to arrive were the Morvians, then the Zika, then the Kelmar Republic. One by one, they entered Earth space. not to invade, to fight. The galaxy had been saved by Earth once. Now it was Earth's turn to be saved. Together they pushed back the swarm. Not fully, not forever, but the tide had turned. Earth still burned, but it burned with hope. In the ruins of Earth Command, Axon stood beside Mira's grave. He placed her badge in the stone and whispered, "You didn't die alone." Then he looked up at the stars, still stained with war. He said just 2 words, "Begin vengeance." And far across the galaxy, Earth's secret project finally finished building. It wasn't a ship, it wasn't a weapon, it was something older, something final. A world engine, a Terran creation designed not to win, but to erase. Its name was simple, Final Dawn, and it had one goal: end the swarm forever. Earth burned, but it did not fall. The swarm had copied Earth's weapons. They thought they had won, but they didn't know Earth's last secret. Not a ship, not a fleet, but a world killer hidden in silence, built for one thing: to end everything that tried to end Earth. And when Final Dawn rose, the stars themselves trembled. Final Dawn was not born in orbit. It was forged in silence, buried under Earth for centuries. A ship the size of a small planet, invisible to scanners, powered by something older than time called the Heart of Soul. No crew, no weakness, no surrender. Its weapons weren't made of missiles, they were made of judgment. When Final Dawn rose from under Earth's crust, mountains split. The oceans trembled. Even Earth's defenders, who had fought for days, paused and looked up. A shadow passed over the burning sky. Long, wide, unstoppable. Final Dawn had awakened. Axon Core stood alone at the control node. He wasn't flying it. He was connected to it. His thoughts powered its will. His pain fueled its weapons. He became its soul. The swarm saw the new threat. They charged toward it with everything they had. Tens of thousands of mimic ships, fake juggernauts, bioweapons, light benders, and death clouds, all aimed at one target, Final Dawn, but they were already too late. Final Dawn didn't fire like normal ships. It didn't shoot beams or launch drones. It rewrote reality. The first wave of swarm ships vanished. No explosions, no sound, just gone, like they were never there. The stars behind them flickered as space stitched itself closed. The second wave tried to flank. They didn't even make it halfway. Final Dawn released its second protocol, Memory Burn. A pulse spread out, not to destroy ships, but to erase their history. Ships stopped moving. Crews forgot who they were, why they fought, what side they were on. They drifted, confused, and Earth's Bastion fleet tore them apart. Then came the final wave. The swarm sent their core entity, a creature ship made of every planet they had devoured. It was bigger than Final Dawn. It had a mouth made of suns. It screamed in every voice of every species it had ever consumed. It said, "You are fire, we are the void. We swallow all. Bow." Axon didn't answer. He just closed his eyes and whispered, "Earth bows to no one." Then he activated Dawn Protocol 3. Final Dawn lit up with a deep golden glow. Its inner walls shifted. Not metal, but bone. Ancient bone. From Earth's oldest wars, the ship became a temple of revenge. And then it launched the last weapon, the Heart of Sol, a focused sun-core beam shaped by memory and hate, not heat, not light. Essence, the memory of Earth's suffering, turned into raw energy. It hit the core entity straight through the chest, and for the first time, The swarm screamed, the entity broke apart, its false planets shattered, its mimic ships exploded, its scream became silence, and with it, the entire swarm network began to collapse. Every ship, every hive, every beast, gone. The galaxy fell quiet. No fire, no pain, no swarm, only drifting stars and silence, and in the center of it all, final dawn hovered, glowing gently. Back on Earth, survivors looked to the sky. Children pointed, soldiers wept. The ground stopped shaking, and for the first time in weeks, they heard birds sing. The galaxy didn't cheer, it just breathed. Because Earth had done what no one else could. It had taken everything, every hit, every loss, every lie, and still stood. The leaders of the galaxy met 1 week later, on a quiet Terran mountain still cracked from the war. Mira Vale's image stood tall, carved in stone. Axon spoke only once. No medals, no politics, just truth. Earth didn't win, Earth remembered. And when you remember pain, you never let it return. They asked if Final Dawn would be dismantled. Axon shook his head. No, it sleeps until it's needed again. Now the stars remember, and in every corner of the galaxy, when war threatens to rise, aliens whisper, "Don't wake Earth," because Earth doesn't just fight. Earth ends wars. The galaxy once cried for help. Now it stands tall, because Earth answered, and the answer was final.